I couldn't believe this. My son-in-law deceived I and my daughter, Buhari exclaimed. News in details. The mainstream and social media went agog recently when Daily Trust reported how the son-in-law of 40-year-old Sudatu Aliyu deceived her into believing that he was contracting marriage between her and the former President Muhammadu Buhari. In this interview, Sadatu shared her experience with his daughter and his son-in-law. He recently won a court judgment against your son-in-law, Gambo Adamu, who deceitfully contracted your marriage with ex-President Muhammadu Buhari. What really transpired? I said I got to know that Gambo Adamu, while selling food at Kuri Market, that was in 2016, he worked as a private security at the market. He became familiar because he was one of my regular customers. I later brought my daughter from Yola, Adamawa State, to stay with me in Mina after I separated with my husband. But when I remarried, I wasn't going to the shop regularly, so my daughter was running the restaurant for me. That was how they started a relationship. I did not even know until when they had gone far. When Gambo sent my sister's daughter to visit us from Gombe to inform me of his intention to marry my daughter, I told him that there was no problem. I told him to meet the girl's parents in Yola and seek their consent. It later came to me to form a non-governmental organization known as Youth Congressive Group. While we were discussing about the organization, I became seriously ill and spent months in the hospital. He started getting me traditional medicines in addition to what my parents and younger brother were getting for me. He went as far as traveling to his village to get me some traditional medicines. But at that time, he was yet to get married to my daughter, and I recovered and went back to continue with my food business, and we became closer. And one day I took my daughter to Yola to discuss the marriage proposal with her father. Because of that, we had a misunderstanding, and I wanted to leave her in Yola with her father. But some people advised that I shouldn't do that because she would become wayward. In fact, because of her father's insistence that she would not be allowed to marry Gombo Adamu, she attempted to commit suicide. She wanted to take rat poison before she was saved. That was why people said I should take her back to Mina. I brought her back to Mina, and eventually her father agreed, and she got married to Gambo in 2018. After the marriage, Gambo reminded me of the non-governmental organization he asked me to set up. He said I would serve as its patron and sponsor while he would serve as chairman. I told him that I had never operated an NGO before, so I had no idea of how to run any. He told me that whatever I spent would be documented and opportunities would come in future. I told him I was going to think about it and also seek advice from my brothers. He also asked me to get his God-fearing people who would help him handle a contract for the sale of Hajj seats to intending pilgrims. I told my younger brother and few other people in the area and invited them for a meeting with him so that he would explain to them better. He said that he was going to design membership forms to be filled by all the members of NGO. He also said that the forms would be given to them for free, and also that the patron and sponsor would take the financial responsibility for the design and printing. I gave him 2,000 to design and print the forms. That was in 2017. So we started the NGO and meetings were held on Mondays. As we progressed, he asked us to start contributing 200 naira every Monday to run the organization, while late coming would attract 100 naira. He later organized 5,000 as monthly contribution. He also told me that we needed to start giving out charity to orphans and also the less privileged, especially those who could not even pay their house rent. That was when I developed full interest in the NGO so that we could help the needy. How did the discussion of getting you married to former President Buhari began? One day, we visited hospital and orphanage homes to help the sick and the needy. Before we went to those places, he said that we should get a cameraman to take pictures and record video for record purpose. It was after this visitation that he told me that he was going to take the video to Abuja to show to the federal government so that he could secure a contract for me. He requested for my passport photographs, which I gave him. Those photographs are still with him as I speak with you. He also collected my voter's card, national ID card, and also my original school certificate, that's the WAEC certificate. They are also still with him. He said that he asked me to give him 50,000 for transport to go to Abuja and for hotel accommodation. I don't know if he truly went to Abuja, but he told me that he went along with his wife. When they returned from Abuja, they came to me saying that when government officials, the members of the House of Representatives from Niger State and officials of some embassies watched the video in the company of Buhari, who was still in power then, as well as Muhammad Amaru Bago, the current governor of Niger State, who was a House of Representative from Niger State, and some other government officials. They said they liked me because I would be of help to them in mobilizing votes during election. He advised that I should bring money to rent an office for the activity of the NGO with a signpost so that we could easily be traced. He also suggested that I needed to get him a befitting house as the chairman of the organization. After renovating the house we rented, they said that it would be sold because the owner had died. That was how I lost that money. He said we should rent another office and I gave him 120,000 to get a place in Kura. I also paid for the house, where he said that he would receive guests from Abuja, including ex-president Buhari. He told me that visit by Buhari would always be secret, so we shouldn't be taking them to hotel. That was when he told me that Buhari said he loved me and would love to take me as his wife. I don't believe him until when I asked his wife, my daughter, and she swore by Allah and Prophet Muhammad that what her husband said was true, that she was present when ex-president Buhari said it. I couldn't control my tears. My son-in-law later brought out a paper alleging that I was a letter written by Buhari to me and read it to my hearing. He said Buhari requested for my personal picture. This is unbelievable. When they came back, they told me that they met Buhari at the villa and he was happy. He gave me Buhari's picture saying that the former president gave it to him. He also brought a letter from Buhari which he read to me. One day, he said that Buhari was ready for the wedding and I should begin to buy wares, adding that the former president wouldn't want an elaborate ceremony. He wanted the wedding fatia done secretly. I spent all my savings from my restaurant business on this moment, but while we were doing all this, I wasn't comfortable. I was still in doubt and gripped with fear. I was wondering how former President Buhari did not even see any woman to marry except me. After that, he asked me to rent a house where I would stay with Buhari if he paid me a visit after our wedding. I rented a 2-bedroom flat at the cost of 250,000. He later told me that Buhari had confided in him that I would succeed Abakari as his chief of staff. Then he said that since I was going to work in the villa, government was going to check me to know that I had. This is unbelievable. This is unbelievable. Can you imagine? Our people in the north are deceived easily. When a first staff swears in Allah's name, but some men don't even fear God at all. African women is strong and resourceful, but are drained mostly by lazy men. Can you imagine? Only God that can save all these liars that does not fear God. So viewers, what is your take on this? Your comment on these things will be very much appreciated. Don't hesitate to drop them below the comment box. Click on the subscription button.